Assalamu alaikum students. Today our topic is climate of Pakistan. Climate in simple words means atmospheric condition. But before understanding climate, you need to know the difference between climate and weather. Because climate and weather are also both atmospheric conditions. And both of them, climate and weather, they are made of certain elements, which are temperature, rain, air pressure, wind speed, and moisture in the air. These are the elements which are making both climate and weather. But there is still some difference between the two terms, climate and weather. Climate is the condition or state of atmosphere which stays for a longer period of time. Means if these elements in the atmosphere, temperature, rain, air pressure, etc., if they stay for a longer period of time or they change after a longer period of time, it will be termed as climate. And if the same elements, temperature, rain, air pressure, wind speed, and moisture in the air, if these elements stay for shorter period of time or if they change after shorter period of time, then they will be called as weather. Now, the climate of different physical regions of Pakistan. As you know that Pakistan is a big country, so the climate of different areas is not the same. It is different. And before discussing that different climate of the 4 provinces of Pakistan in this passage, in this paragraph, you first need to understand the meaning of a few terms that are going to be used here. And these terms are highlands. Highlands means heighted areas such as mountains and plateaus. Arid. Arid means dry areas having less rain. Warm. Warm means not too hot but having mild temperature. Humid. Humid means moist atmosphere or the air having more water vapors. Semi-arid. Semi-arid means are the areas that are not completely dry or deserted. These terms are going to be used in this passage. Now let's read this passage, then further proceed towards its explanation. Pakistan has a wide range of climatic conditions. While the highlands of Balochistan are arid and cold, the coastal areas in Sindh and Balochistan are warm and humid, and northern Sindh and central Punjab are extremely hot and semi-arid, whereas the climate in northern and northwestern parts of Pakistan can be cold. Now, let's discuss them. With the reading of this passage, we come to understand that the climate of heighted areas or mountains in Balochistan are cold because of their height. Next, the climate of southern areas of Pakistan, which are the areas near the sea, such as coastal areas of both Sindh and Balochistan, are warm because they are plain and lowlands. They are humid because they are close to the sea and they receive water vapors from the Arabian Sea most of the time. North of Sindh and center of Punjab are extremely hot because they are lowlands and are plain areas. They are semi-arid, which means they are sometimes receiving rainfall and during some seasons they are dry. Then the areas in the north of Pakistan and northwest of Pakistan are cold because northern areas are heighted mountains areas and northwestern areas are also having mountain ranges. Now, what is monsoon season? Monsoon seasons are a season which is very specific in its own. You need to understand the term season first. Seasons are actually patterns in weather during a specific part of the year. And for a specific time of year, the season of monsoon comes in Pakistan. To understand monsoon season, you need to know that in Pakistan there are two kinds of winds that enters Pakistan in two different seasons. Number one are the monsoon winds that enters Pakistan in summer. The second ones are the northeastern winds that enter Pakistan in winter. We are not discussing the northeastern winter winds here. We will just discuss the monsoon winds here. Now, before starting and reading this passage about monsoon seasons, you need to understand a few terms here, which are air pressure. Air pressure means the weight of air or amount of molecules in air. Then cyclone. Cyclone is a circular motion or movement of wind. Then Bay of Bengal. Bay of Bengal is the part of Indian Ocean which is located to the south of Bangladesh. Then stratus clouds. Stratus clouds are low level gray color clouds. Now let's start reading this passage about monsoon season. The establishment of low pressure over the Indo-Pak subcontinent in May and June attracts winds from the Indian Ocean, which burst blowing over the land about the middle of June as the southwest monsoons. The monsoon current reaches Pakistan about the beginning of July. The tropical cyclones of Bay of Bengal move in a northwesterly direction over northern India and enter Pakistan. The effect of the Arabian Sea branch of the monsoons over Pakistan is felt from the end of June. However, the monsoons penetrate only the coastal areas and result in the formation of stratus clouds with very little rain. Now let's see, as it says the first paragraph, that monsoon season is caused by the monsoon winds that brings water vapors and causes rainfall. Look at the image given in this page. There are two images. The image to the east is the image of the western winds, which we are not going to discuss. We are discussing the image on the left side. First, you need to know that in Indo-Pak subcontinent in June and July, when the air is heated, it rises up, leaving low air pressure behind. To fill up that space, hot air full of moisture from the surroundings comes and enters that area. Those are the monsoon winds that we are talking about here. Now look at the image to the left. You can see red arrows which are giving you the direction of the monsoon winds. In this map, you can see the map of Pakistan, and to its right side then is India, then again to its right or east is Bangladesh. All these three countries together are called Indo-Pak subcontinent. So when the air pressure is low during the 2 months, June and July, then is the time when monsoon winds enters these three countries together. Now, how much of the monsoon rainfall does Pakistan receives? It depends on its direction. Look at the image. The arrows are coming from the south of Pakistan, India, and Bangladesh, which in other words is called Indo-Pak subcontinent. Let's look at the south of Pakistan first. In the south of Pakistan is Arabian Sea. You can see the arrows entering from the Arabian Sea towards Pakistan. So this is the coastal area which receives monsoon winds here. These monsoon winds enter Pakistan first in the month and beginning of July. So most of the winds of monsoon which is having moisture in it, they causes rainfall in these southern areas of Pakistan. Then in In the south of Bangladesh is Bay of Bengal. The second direction of the same monsoon winds is from this direction. They turn westwards towards Pakistan, but when they reaches Pakistan, there is very less amount of water vapors left in those air or wind. So only the northern areas of Pakistan receives the monsoon winds or the monsoon rainfall from these winds. Now the post-monsoon season. Post-monsoon season means the seasons after the monsoon winds. It means what happens after the retreating of the monsoon winds, and when the monsoon winds goes back, what happens after that? Let's discuss it. This season is a transitional period between the monsoonal regime and cool season conditions and is also known as the season of retreating monsoons. The high pressure begins to establish itself for Pakistan in mid November. The absence of any active wind system results in general dryness, and October and November are the driest months. So what it says that after monsoon winds, in the month of November and December, there are no such winds which can bring moisture or water vapors from sea towards the land. So even though the temperature is changing and cooling, but there is still dryness in the air. There in these 2 months, especially the month of November and the month of December, we can hardly see any rainfall. Now we are going to discuss negative effects of human activities on climate. As you know that there are different human activities going on or doings of humans which are changing the climate apart from the natural processes. So those human activities and their worst effects are discussed here. Human activities, particularly the combustion of fossil fuels, are altering the climate system. Combustion means burning of fossils, and fossil fuels are the things like coal and gas that are formed by natural processes and are used for burning by human beings. So, when human beings use different gas and different coals for burning, due to these burning, a lot of gases are produced in the air, or in other words, we can say pollution is being created. So, this causes a lot of change in our climate. Next point, the human driven changes in land use and land cover, such as deforestation, urbanization, and shifts in vegetation patterns, also alter the climate, resulting in changes to the reflectivity of the Earth's surface, emissions from burning forests, effects and changes in the natural water cycle. Now, in this point, we are discussing different changes and different activities which are causing these changes in the climate. The activities of human beings are such as deforestation. Deforestation means cutting of trees. Due to the different purposes and use of trees, human beings are cutting forests for their own needs, which are causing decrease in the level of oxygen in the air. As you know that plants and vegetation, they produce oxygen for us. When the amount of vegetation decreases, it means amount of oxygen is decreasing in the air, which is causing very much harm for the human beings and changes in the climate. Next is urbanization and shifts in the vegetation patterns. So urbanization is another activity of human beings. Urbanization means expanding of cities, because everyday population is increasing, and to settle that population, sometimes the vegetation's processes are also changed, and sometimes vegetations are being removed to settle all that population in those areas, which is causing a lot of changes in the climate. Next is the results of these activities of human beings is being discussed here. So the result of these activities are, first one is the reflectivity of Earth's surface. Reflectivity of Earth is actually the amount of sunlight reflected back into space. So as you know, there is a layer called ozone which is protecting the Earth, and due to the human activities and global warming, that layer is being damaged. Because of this, the natural process of the sunlight reflected back into the space is being stopped. When this method is not properly taking place, it also changes the climate, which is very bad for the human beings. Another thing or another effect which is being discussed here is the emissions from burning forests. Emission from burning forests means when, due to natural processes or due to the human activities, sometimes the forests are being burned, which are producing different kind of gases in the air. This is also damaging the ozone layer and causes global warming. And all these things, they are the things which are affecting and changing the natural water cycle. Water cycle, as you know, is the process by which water circulates between the earth's oceans, atmosphere and land, and it circulate in different forms such as rain, snow and streams, etc. So the rain, snow and streams, all the resources such as rivers and water bodies, they are necessities for the human beings. When this natural process is not properly taking place and this water cycle is being disturbed because of the global warming and human activities, it will cause worst effects for the human beings.